Welcome to the Igniting the CEO Within podcast, where we interview successful high level professionals to discover lessons they've learned throughout their career that can help ignite that CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge, and I'll be your host for the next 15 minutes or so. Our show is sponsored by Quaid, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quaid has developed Launchpad, which offers an opportunity for experienced business consultants to become licensed circle directors and earn significant recurring revenues. After completing the Launchpad program, you'll lead your own peer advisory circles, helping other CEOs and entrepreneurs excel in their professional and personal lives while providing a community of accountability, challenge, and support. If you'd like to learn more, go to quaidcircle.com. On our show today, I'm excited to have Juan Calahorrano, the president and CEO of JLC and Associates, out of the Chicagoland area. Juan, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Mark, I thank you for reaching out to me and giving this opportunity here in your show. And I've been listening to talk about your podcast lately, and a lot of good people that come and share their experiences and try to share some knowledge.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to pick your brain. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Look, you have had a really interesting career. You've been exposed to all kinds of leaders. You're coaching leaders. What in your mind helps to separate somebody who is a really excellent leader from somebody who I'm going to say maybe is not so excellent?
One thing that really comes to mind, I remember in the early stages of my life, I was doing supply chain, a lot of warehousing, and I ended up becoming the team leader for this particular company. I had a supervisor who was maybe a couple of months younger than me, very good at what he did. But I kind of go back and think about the trust, right? The trust that he had in your abilities to do the job. Like he told me one time, because actually there was some people that were working under me. They say, "How come Mark, what's his name? Mark doesn't come and spend time with us?" And I said, maybe that's a good thing. Otherwise, we won't be doing our job. And exactly that's what he told me. He goes, a good manager actually I know that I'm doing my job when I don't have to look over you, when I can just walk away and know that you guys are going to continue to work, not just working when I'm there sitting with you guys. And I learned a lot from that. And he actually did that. I probably was my ability to do the job and perform and do what I needed to do, but also had a lot of faith and trust in me and our team members. So I think that's one of the things that come to mind.
Yeah. So I like that. I think trust, you really have to earn it, right?
Sure.
It doesn't come along with the title. What are some ways that you've seen, and you started to talk about it, but what are some of the ways that you've seen leaders earn that trust? Because it's not easy, right? Somebody gets a new leader, and whether it's a CEO or a manager or whatever, they come in and uh, you know you sometimes you want to test them a little bit, right? how
Yeah,
how,
yeah.
how have you seen people earn that trust when they come into a new leadership role, for example?
I think is some of the because I teach classes nowadays. I teach a lot of the social skills, and one of the things that we emphasize a lot is showing up on time, being there on time, not just physically but also mentally, right? And be ready to go to
Mm,
work. And that's what I kind of go back to that. That's the team that we had. I remember there was times in which we had to go on Saturdays, and I was there sometimes from 4 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night doing my
oof,
job, right? And I think
yeah.
one of the things that I did is take away the pressure from my boss. He was able to do the executive things or the leadership things that he needed to do because there was a lot of new racking coming in, new equipment that needs to be bought. I didn't have to worry about that. He's the one that took care of those things. I worry about making sure those packages get put together for the right amounts and be shipped whatever they got to ship it on time. And some of those things. And one of the things that also came to mind, I remember working for another organization, national company, and I was in charge of doing the procurement for their MRO maintenance, repair, and operating supplies. Um, and I remember hearing from somebody that at that particular company they had branches, and every 3 years they switched the managers. And I was thinking, why would they do that? Why would you want to switch managers when everything's working fine? And one of the things that I don't know, somebody told me, maybe just kind of realized myself, it's probably because people get used to those individuals, right? Get used to their mannerisms, is good or bad. And same thing with the manager, you're used to dealing with employees in a certain way. So when somebody new comes along, what do? right? You're in your best behavior. You show up on time every day. You do what you're supposed to do. And same thing with the manager, right? They want to prove a point. They want to make sure that they're able to manage with different people, different locations. So I think to me, that's the way the upper management keep things going with those particular branches and making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, right? So I think kind of going back to the question is just doing what you're supposed to do, and the manager be able to share the vision, the mission. I'm the kind of guy that wants to understand where am I fitting in within that puzzle. Where I'm fitting in
Yeah.
within the production. I'm in the beginning, the middle, of the end, but I also want to know what's going on at the beginning, what's happening where I'm at, and what's also happening at the end of the line. Another example is I was working for a Japanese company, and I learned about TQM, I learned about just in time, I learned all those processes, and assembling or putting together or packaging, shipping it to a customer had to go into a vehicle. It had to go into the brake system. Okay, made my life look a little bit different. Manage things. Not that I was doing a rotten job. It's just that my emphasis on making sure that everything gets better, and also communicating with the people that were working for me, making sure they understood that, right? Making sure they understood the criticalness
Mhm.
of making everything correct, getting shipping things on time, and all of those things.
Yeah, I like that. There's a whole bunch in there that I want to come back to. One of the things that you talked about, not only just showing up on time, but being present when you're with somebody, right? That's putting the cell phone down. That's really listening to understand what they're saying, versus just come trying to respond to everything. And that's one of those things that's not necessarily natural, right? You're a leader, you've got a thousand things going on, but you're doing your teammates a disservice if you're not being totally present with them and listening to what they're saying, and sometimes what even they're not saying, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And something that I kind of come to mind. I also been teaching for about 26 years, I believe now. I used to teach undergrad. And at the beginning, I ended up in teaching with no training about teaching. So I started doing that a few years later. And a few years later, I remember teaching the class, and all of a sudden we get into conversations back and forth with the students. We ended up on the other side, right? We ended up 100 miles away. But I was able to kind of come back, and that thing that you learn with doing your job, right, and putting emphasis on doing well, ended up coming back and picking up where I left off, and I was kind of a little bit amazing myself. Said, okay, I was able to do that. But yeah, I mean, just making sure that as an instructor, you want to make sure that people really paying attention. Maybe not everybody, might be another 20, 30 students in the class are going to get everything, because when I was teaching was higher adult education, right? Adult learners, basically, right? So you got individuals that were just coming out of college, individuals that have been in the workforce 10 years, sometimes 20 years. And how do you assemble all that together and make sure you come out with a good understanding of it, right? So making sure they pay attention. The assurance to me is like, now, as an student, you might share the book knowledge because you're good, you're being in class, you understand how to study, take a test, and then you got the other individuals that have been out there and how to share that with the students and make it all come up in the middle and make sure that everybody gets a good understanding of theory, but also good understanding of actual practice.
Hmm. That leads into one of the other things that you said that I really liked, and that is something that really good leaders do is they help people understand what their role is in the entire process, right? And it's that's so powerful. Like, you can have the greatest mission statement in the world, but if your teammates have no idea what their role means to achieving that mission, it's almost useless, and they're not going to dial in and give that extra effort to help you achieve the goals of the company.
Yeah, and also maybe help the process like move a lot quicker and faster, right? Yeah, I mean that's what I make it on myself to have people understand the whole thing, right? Kind of going back
Mhm.
what I said earlier is like for me, I want to know how I fit in this puzzle. Am I taking the lead today? Maybe I don't have to do that today. Maybe I'm sitting on the back and maybe being assisting somebody else, right? Or maybe just all the way in the back, which I'm just pushing the broom if I have to do that. But at the end of the day, is we understand we got to get the job, and this is what we need to do. Your skills, your understanding of what you got to do, and your skills and understanding. Let's put it all together because not everybody has the same skills. Not everybody has the same understanding. Not everybody was going to put the same effort. But I think the toughest thing is, and I value those individuals that are able to really grasp and the individual's knowledge and skills and making sure that you put all those things together. Once again, put the puzzle together, right? Yeah, so I think having that, be able to evaluate people and their skills and everything. And I always think that if you get somebody, like one of the things that we teach in class right now is like your aptitude, your attitude, and your altitude, right? Your aptitude, yeah, knowing, having knowledge, right? Then your attitude will be your behavior, and say, and altitude is where you want to get. You might have the aptitude, but if you don't have the attitude to get things done and to really understand, if I come into a job and I'm open minded to learning, yeah, welcome, right? I got a master's degree. I've been have a lot of experience, but if I'm here to learn from you, even though you just got out of high school or things like that, but if I then I can bring in my skills and knowledge, because my skills and knowledge could be something that I can share, and I said, okay, we want to make sure we don't do those things, right? Or we want to make sure we implement those things, right? Just because we know certain things that may not be applicable now, but it could
Hmm.
be something that keep us away from making mistakes or so.
Yeah. No, that's really good stuff. I think, the other piece that leads into that too is being able to make sure that you're putting people in the right positions where they can be successful, right? Just because you have a certain education or a certain degree or a certain skill set, aptitude is the word that you were using, doesn't mean that completely aligns with what is your best fit for the entire organization. So a really good leader is going to take all of those things into account to make sure that as a team and as a whole, that company is putting people in the right positions to where they can be successful, and then everybody wins.
Hire the right person and don't manage them well, or just hire the wrong person for the job as well, right? There's people that kind of bring in at the beginning, right? We come into a new job, we're excited, we want to know certain things, and all of a sudden those things die. Why? It's because maybe we exaggerated the job itself, or maybe we just realized that's not for us, and that's okay, right? We don't fit in later on, that's okay, right? I was in a company one in which I came in and three managers got let go from the marketing department. And to me, it was like, what kind of mistake did I do? 'Cause that was signs of management more than it feels like said, okay, maybe you're hiring the wrong person for the jobs. Or maybe you hire the right person, you're not manage those individuals well, right? And sometimes what I think you gotta do is if you find somebody who maybe doesn't have the skills for do that particular job, but have other skills that could be fitted within the team or could be something that you can develop, create a position for that individual, right? I
Mhm.
remember one time listening to this consultant one time in a seminar or something related to at that time the technology was big and they were saying that you should train individuals for this particular technology, and also reading about a company that actually hire individuals with a arts degree in arts, I think it was, and they were saying, why do you hire a degree in arts when you need some tech people? So because all the individuals you can learn, they're analytical. They learn
Mm.
those classes. Obviously, they went to school and they know how to learn in a sense, right? They can be
Right, right.
teachable, right? So bring those students that are open to other things that I need for those particular jobs. And the other stuff I can teach them. I can teach them how to maybe read programming because if I put them in front of a book, I'm teaching certain things and they'll learn, right? But yeah, sometimes you just gotta find individuals that are going to be good for the team and that are going to be go getters, show up on time, and be there to play a role, a function that'll be for the team to win. I'm going back to sports again. I remember when the Bulls were leading those championships. There was Witters, I think it was a center. I think he might have played one or two games throughout the season. And when everybody came in for a couple of months, everybody just got excited because you never seen it. But obviously, he was playing the role, right? He won maybe two to three championships with the Bulls, maybe playing about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but at the same time, he must have been playing a role at practice.
Yeah.
Maybe he was the kind of guy that creates a scenario for those guys to get better and either defending or get better either attacking because he mirrored what you were going to encounter later on in the game.
Yeah. No, that's really good stuff. Well, Juan, like I said, we try to do these things in bite-sized nuggets, and we're starting to come up on our time. I want to end with one more question. If you think back to 21-year-old Juan, what is one thing that you wish 21-year-old Juan knew that you know today that you don't think he knew at that point? What would you share with him as he entered the workforce to really get out there and get cranking?
I didn't value myself, right? I didn't
Yeah.
value myself in the sense of my skills, what I can bring to the table. At the same time, understanding what those are, not only value, but understanding what those are, right? Um, Coming out of college, I went to school later. I came out of college when I was 33, and I was thinking the doors going to be wide open for me. But guess what? They were not, right? Um, I wasn't the Michael Jordan of a business degree, right? But I think really getting to know you, assess yourself, evaluate yourself, understand to know your skills and where you fit in better. Those are something that is very critical. Um, I never would have thought I would be able to teach, right? I never would have thought that. But somebody looked at me and said, Juan, when you get your master's degree, you got to come and teach. So I was excited about it. So, wow, they want me to teach. But I don't know that I had it that in me. 26 years later, I'm still doing that. And I enjoy it.
Wow.
I just enjoy teaching. Maybe like somebody told, maybe you enjoy telling people what you know. Maybe I do, right? But that's part of everything, right? But I think that and also maybe looking yourself in the mirror, really seeing the type of person that you are, maybe that aptitude, the attitude that you have that can take you to the altitude you want to get. Maybe that's one of the things that I wish I could have done better, or maybe some advice that I could give people and they want to pursue a career or whatever they want to do.
Yeah, that's really good stuff. Hey, tell me what does an engagement with JLC and Associates look like, and how does our audience get a hold of you?
Sure. Currently, over the last 20 years, I've been engaged in construction. That's kind of what I focus on, even though I still got a love for supply chain, right? But over the last 20 years, being engaged in construction. Anything related to, if anybody has a need in the procurement side, anybody has a need in coming up with the strategies how to incorporate themselves into this crazy world of construction, right? So yeah, but getting understanding of who they are, they can contact me. My goal is once again understand what do you want to get, what do you want to do, right? What is it that you feel your needs are? Maybe help you evaluate those needs and have you understand. Just because somebody tells you this hurts, that doesn't mean that's the actual cause of the problem, right? It just get a good understanding of what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, what you want to be in 3 years, 5 years, and just to try to take a look and see how we can get there. Either a straight line, or maybe you can just deviate a little bit. Maybe you got to change your focus on the approach that you have on the industry, perhaps, or the um, or where you at, or how to approach things. Like I think to me, it's good understanding of your capacity, right? I ask people this all the time whenever you talk about bidding for projects. They say, "What's your capacity?" Maybe I would say about 50, 40% are able to understand and say, "Yeah, my capacity I can do $1 million jobs," or some people just don't know how to answer that. But if you really understand, once again, kind of going back to me, right? Understanding my skills, my levels, where can I fit in? Can I fit in a $50,000 job, 100 or $300,000 job? Where my skills lead me to? Same thing with the company. Understand their capacity and I'll help them understand. All right. So the engagement would be just once again, contact me. Let me know what you're looking for. See what we can help you. I want to also make sure that we're the right choice for you for the business, right? Because if you're not, I mean, I don't want you to be spending money to get a bad taste of me. If it is not now, it could be later. I can say that I've been lucky enough, or maybe my what I've done through the years. I have people call me sometimes that I haven't seen me for 6, 7 years. Even they
Mhm.
call me to ask me a question, a simple question, but they reach out to me still because I don't really see my activity on LinkedIn, or they just look at me as somebody that can be a resource for things like that. My website is consultant there, but under my first and last name, Juan Calahorrano. They can reach me through that. Juan Calahorrano at mail.com is also my email address, which is a lot easier. But yeah, through LinkedIn, they can reach out to me as well. I'm also besides doing what I do with my consultant firm, besides my teaching, I also run a not-for-profit in construction. It's called Chicago Unidos United in Construction, brand new, 2 years old, with the goal of advocating for inclusion and participation in construction. We got a group of about 24 members, well-established companies, and we're looking to create a path for these companies to get into project, which no matter what it is not that easy. And yeah, just building relationships in the public and private sector and try to help.
I love it. I love it. Well, man, congratulations on all you accomplished and all the impact that you've had on leaders and people and students, and just amazing work that you're doing. Thanks for joining me on our show today.
Mark, I really appreciate the time and wish you the best of luck. And I'm gonna say this, but I hope the Bears don't go don't go next door. No, but yeah, congratulations on Indiana winning the championship as well. It's really great. I was
Yeah,
rooting
thank
for
you,
India,
thank
so
you.
yeah.
Yeah, crazy times down in Bloomington for sure. All right, my friend. Hey, thank you. Y'all, we did it again. We found another amazing leader to share some more insights with us. I hope you took a lot out of our conversation with Juan. He's another person just doing amazing things. As we wrap up, I want to remind you that Igniting the CEO Within is sponsored by Quade, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quade has created Launchpad, which provides an opportunity for experienced business consultants to become licensed circle directors and earn significant annual recurring revenues. To find out more, visit quadecircle.com. Until next time, keep igniting that CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge. Thanks for listening.